Doha. Where's Qatar located? It's located on a peninsula in the Persian Gulf. Its area is 11,500 kilometers, which is about half the size of the state of New Jersey. The population of the country is 2.8 million people, and the population of its capital, Doha, is 956,000 people. Today, Doha is known for its futuristic skyline and modern architecture inspired by Islamic design, such as the Limestone Museum of Islamic Art. Before coming here, I had this impression that everyone here must be extremely wealthy and that every other guy has a Ferrari. Well, of course, there's no shortage of luxury cars in the streets, as well as villas and yachts, but not to the extent that I was expecting. In fact, after 2 days, I only saw one Ferrari.
Hi.
Oh, hi, welcome to Qatar.
Thank you very much.
Okay, goodbye.
The locals here make up about 15% of the population, while the remaining 85 are foreign workers. The population is growing rapidly. High salaries in the oil, tourism, and construction industries are attracting a lot of foreigners. First, let's point out some cultural aspects. Qatar's legal system is a mixture of civil law and Sharia law. For example, adultery is punishable by 100 lashes. Wow, that must hurt. In some cases, Sharia-based family courts treat a woman's testimony as being worth half that of a man. Also, polygyny is permitted. If you are in Qatar, you're one of us, says a sign urging tourists to dress modestly. And I agree, a little bit of respect will go a long way. Foreigners should avoid public displays of affection, and women should keep their shoulders and knees covered. Alcohol consumption is limited, and it's limited to some 5-star hotels that are allowed to sell it. This hotel, Sheraton Grand, with a distinct pyramid shape, was the first 5-star hotel in the city, built all the way back in 1979. Today, the business district of Doha, the West Bay area, looks futuristic, and it's best seen from Corniche Promenade. This spectacular promenade stretches for 7 kilometers along the crescent-shaped bay. You can take a boat ride in the traditional dough boat. Should be fun. But surprisingly, the streets feel so empty. Why is that? I think it's because the city was designed for motorists. You either drive here or you use a taxi. Pedestrians are clearly not the biggest priority. To cross the road sometimes you have to wait for like 5 minutes for the traffic light to change. It's kind of frustrating. What's the recent history of Qatar? In the 19th and early 20th centuries, Qatar was part of the Ottoman Empire. Later, it was under the protectorate of Great Britain until it claimed its independence in 1971. Some 50 years ago, the main industries were fishing and pearl hunting. There is even a large oyster and pearl statue on the south end of the Corniche. But all of that changed once they discovered oil. Today, oil and gas industries account for 55% of the country's GDP. Qatar is lucky to have 1.5% of the world's proven oil reserves and 13% of the world's natural gas reserves. It's also the world's largest exporter of liquefied natural gas. Gas at the pump station is affordable. It's even cheaper than in the UAE, 45 cents per liter or $1.6 a gallon. The current Emir of Qatar is Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and you can see his portraits on many buildings. Actually, he's pretty young, he's just 39 years old. Those who are interested in the world news are probably familiar with Al Jazeera News Network, but few know that it was founded here in 1996 by the Qatari government. In June 2017, Qatar found itself in the middle of a diplomatic crisis when Saudi Arabia, along with Bahrain, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates and some other countries, severed all ties with Qatar, claiming that Qatar was supporting some bad guys and military groups aimed at destabilizing the region. They closed off their airspaces, territorial waters, and land borders to Qatar. Saudi Arabia even wanted to go as far as building a water canal that would separate the two countries and actually turn Qatar into an island. Qatar denies all of those claims. It's politics, so it's gotta be controversial, so I'm not taking sides. Meanwhile, Qatar is in full swing preparing to host the greatest football event in the world, World Cup 2022. It's a huge responsibility. This will be the first World Cup ever to be held in the Arab world. Matches will be held at 8 stadiums. 7 of them are being built from scratch. But what about the alcohol restrictions, you might ask? What are the football fans going to do without beer? At the time of the championship, the sale and consumption of alcohol will be legalized, but mostly limited to fan zones. Because Doha has a hot desert climate and temperatures in the summertime can easily reach 50 Celsius. For the first time in history, the World Cup will be held in November and December. This in front of you is a giant statue of Ori, the oryx that was the mascot for the 15th Asian Games, which took place in Doha back in 2006. The stadiums will be connected by the metro, which was specifically built for the World Cup. The metro was opened in May 2019 and it's fully automated. For now it has 3 lines and 37 stations, but eventually Doha Metro will have 4 lines and around 100 stations for the entire network.
We're in Qatar and we're trying to use the subway. Let's see if we can do it.
I have 3 adults with me, so we got... Okay, now I gotta pay.
Alright, they told me it's possible to pay with a card. I'll see if I can do that. For $1 US, you get 3.6 local currency. Okay, take your travel cards. Great, beautiful. I got my cards. Let's go.
Train cars have different classes: standard class, family class, and gold class. One trip in standard class costs about $50. If you decide to explore and just jump on the subway and travel a few stops away from the city center, the metro will be traveling above the ground and all you can see from the window is the endless desert, road intersections, and oil refineries. Qatar is working hard to make it a popular tourist destination. They had 1.8 million international visitors in 2018. The cruise industry continues to grow at a rapid pace, with Qatar welcoming 31 ships in 2018, which was an 83% increase compared to 2017. At the same time, Qatar Airways operates a hub-and-spoke network linking over 150 international destinations from its base in Doha. So when you come to Doha, what are the sights? What are you going to do? Well, you can start off by visiting Qatar Cultural Village. It's a huge cultural city made in the style of old Arab buildings that has museums and galleries. There are a lot of sculptures and installations and a city beach. Another location you might want to visit is the Pearl of Qatar. Built on reclaimed land, it's a high-end luxury neighborhood that features Mediterranean-style yacht-lined marinas, luxury residences and hotels, as well as top brand-name boutiques, cafes and restaurants. Walk around the promenade and you'll see rows of yachts moored on the pristine water. You can also take a water taxi across the Porto Arabia Marina. I found it a bit strange again that there weren't too many people there, so it felt like being on a film set. The cool thing about this island is that it will feature the world's largest district cooling plant. It's going to be a 130,000-ton district chilled water plant that will serve the cooling needs of all buildings on the island.
I received a phone call from my client telling me he's overtraded and he's making me pay off his $250,000.
This is one of the few areas in Doha where foreigners are allowed to buy real estate. As a bonus, they're automatically granted residency, which extends to the owner's family for the whole duration of the ownership.
How are you? Good, good.
Just to give you a price range, a 2-bedroom apartment with sea view will be around $400,000 or $500,000. What a lovely weather. I love the birds singing. It's quiet, it's peaceful.